It's been about a year since I made my video about my first experience processing a warranty with Leatherman and whether or not Leatherman would repair a multi-tool that I considered sentimental as opposed to just replacing it with another tool off the shelf. Overall, I had a really good experience. Now, there were comments made on the video from different people, some people sharing a similar experience, other people saying things that led me to believe that it might have helped influence their decision on whether or not to buy a product from Leatherman. There were a few comments that made no sense whatsoever, and there were a few that were claiming that the knife blade was poorly designed or made out of inferior metal. Now, in the year that I've had this back from warranty repair, I've only used a knife blade a few times. For the most part, I use my Leatherman WAVE for the screwdriver and the pliers more than anything else. I've done most of the cutting with my buck knife, but I carry the Leatherman with me every day to work. Because of some of those comments questioning the quality of the metal and questioning the design of the blade, I've decided to go ahead and recreate the situation that caused the blade to break in this video. If I remember correctly, it was this machine. I was using a knife to cut through a hose like this. Before I do the demonstration, I wanted to show you what I used on the original knife blade for a couple years to sharpen it. This grinding wheel. I don't recommend using a grinding wheel to sharpen a knife blade. I was being lazy, and because of that, I wore that metal down thinner than this. And I believe that the wear that I put on the old knife blade is what led to it breaking. So this is the same kind of hose that I was cutting when the original blade broke. You can see here that it's somewhat of a thick wall. It's pliable right now because this is new. After this has been on a machine for a matter of months with hot water going through it, the hose will actually get stiff but brittle. Now, the area where I was cutting the hose actually was where it connects to this fitting. There's a brass hose barb. Simply put it in the hose, and it would have been double clamped. For the demonstration purposes, we don't need the clamps. I would have just broken the clamps off. And then the next point would have been to cut the hose where the fitting was, to get the fitting out. So I'd simply just cut, putting pressure on that brass fitting and trying to retrace the line, and then try to cut again. Yeah, I had my thumb supporting the side of the wave and my forefinger on the back of the blade. For those who've never made a YouTube video, you're looking through the camera, in this case my cell phone screen mounted in a small tripod, to make sure you're staying in frame and not pulling something off camera. And because of that, you don't have a tendency to look at what you're doing. So I'm moving slow and deliberate on purpose because I really don't want to cut myself on camera. Alright, more or less, just put a split in it. Try to cut through it. Go back to trying to cut through it here. And get the hose barb out. And the reason I cut parallel and perpendicular both is because on the older hose, because it's kind of stiff, you kind of want to cut it so it opens up more. On this one that's new and pliable, it's really not a necessity. I'll go ahead and just cut through the rest of it. Once again, watching to make sure I keep this in frame and not watching what I'm doing. So, it cut through it more than once. No problem there. Still think it's a bad design? Still think it's bad metallurgy? I don't. Leatherman makes quality tools in America. They've been doing it for a long time. They know what they're doing. If you get a Leatherman multi-tool, you're definitely getting something that's got value, and it can become sentimental, especially if you get it as a gift from somebody important to you. Thanks for watching.